In this video, I'm going to show you how asset management is done using the Metquay asset management modules. So this is a screen where you do the asset management. It's called a manage master instrument, and as soon as you go to the screen, you'd be able to see that all your assets will be listed right here. So you can search using the tag number, the instrument's name, or the instrument type. Any of these fields that you see in this table are searchable, including the site location, serial number, the status. As soon as you add an asset newly into the application, a new unique number will be assigned to that, and you can download that as a barcode and print it and stick it to your instrument. So you don't have to even type in all the details, just scan the barcode and you'd be able to find all the information about this instrument. In addition to that, we have the created date, the date in which the asset was added to the database, calibrated date, so this would be the last calibrated date, the recommended due date, verification due date. So this is an intermediate date where if you want to do a verification before the calibration process, you can set up a verification due date, and you have the unique number, which is basically the same thing which you saw as a barcode. So let's go ahead and add a new asset. So as I said before, as soon as you add a new asset, a new unique number will be allocated to that asset, and you can give the instrument name. Also, you can choose the instrument type. So this instrument type is basically a combination of the category of the instrument, make, model, range, and type. So for example, if this instrument belongs to, let's say, electrical, so we can search for electrical. So we have already set up some categories here. So let's choose electrical and choose the make as fluke, 55 200, and range. You can set up a range if you want, or if it's a multi-product calibrator, you have a multiple ranges, so just leave the ranges blank. And type you can give as digital. So once you save this, you have a predefined instrument type. So just search for electrical and you'll be able to find all the instrument types that is available in electrical. So you don't you can keep this as a reusable type, where most of your instruments would have might have an already a set of instrument type. Just go ahead and use that, and you can give the serial number, tag number, the latest certificate number, traceability, which comes in from the calibration certificate of that instrument, the certification agency, the site location. So you can set up a site location in which the equipment resides, so you can have that. The current location, so if it has moved to some other location, you can choose the current location. If it's gone on site, if it's out for calibration, you can update that. The calibration type is basically, if you're calibrating this instrument internally, you can choose internal. If you send it out for calibration, you can choose external. And if you're choosing external, you can choose the calibration vendor. So who is going to calibrate this? Do you have a regular vendor who calibrates this instrument? So you can choose that vendor. The date, the date commissioned and date decommissioned. So if this instrument goes decommissioned, if it becomes inactive, so right now the instrument is inactive. Only if you click the checkbox, it would be active, and you can choose the date commissioned. And if you make it inactive, you can choose the date decommissioned, so that this instrument would be in your inventory, but still it's decommissioned. It's not going to be used for any purpose. And the calibration frequency, so you can set up a calibration frequency. Let's say it gets calibrated every 6 months, so you can give calibration frequency as 6 and can choose the span as month. If it happens within a year, so you can choose the calibration frequency as a year. So based on this, it would automatically calculate your next calibration due date, and all your alerts would be triggered based on that. Also, you can choose whether calibration is required or not. If calibration is not required, you can choose calibration not required. If the calibration is required, you can choose on demand or calibration required. Also, you can attach the manual, any manual that ships with the instrument. You can upload that. Any notes you want to give, the calibrated date. So if you choose the calibration on demand, or you can choose the calibration required, you can choose the calibrated date, and then the recommended due date. These two comes from the calibration certificate, and based on this, the system will throw you the alerts. And verification due date, any intermediate date in which you want to do the verification, the latest calibration certificate, and you can even attach the calibration data for this instrument as a worksheet. So if you're internal calibration lab, it's just sufficient to upload a certificate. But if you are a commercial calibration lab, you may want to capture the data as a worksheet so that you could use it for your further calibration process. Also, you can choose the department which it belongs to, for example the manufacturing department or the electrical lab or something like that. So that's the basic fields that is available. In addition to that, if you go to an already set up instrument, you can see that we capture the history of the recalibration of this instrument. So each time it gets recalibrated, it creates a new revision, and the latest revision would have the highest number. So you'll be able to see the certificate number, it's the agency it was calibrated date, recommended due date. You can even view the certificate of this of that particular revision. So it would be easy for you when you go through an audit, or if you want to access the information about this instrument. So you can keep track of that using the master revision details. And also, speaking about the alerts, under my company, this is where you would be setting up the alerts. So go to my company and alerts. So you can set up the alert type. So calibration expiring master instrument. So you can set up the alert interval. So I have set up 3 intervals by default: 60, 30, and 14. So each time, for based on the interval, it would send you an alert with the consolidated list of instruments that are going out of calibration within 60 days, within 30 days, and within 14 days. You can add more alerts as you want. If you want to add 7 days, or if you want to add 90 days, you can do that. Also, you can set up the mail subject and the mail content so that your recipient would be well informed about the calibration due date of your instruments. Also, you can set up the mail recipients, who are the intended recipients of this alert. So you can set up the alerts that way. And in addition, we have something in the form of a report as well. So if you go to calibration expiring instruments, you'd be able to find all your instruments right here. And if you search using the number of days to expire, for example 60 days, you would get the list of instruments which are due for calibration within 60 days. If you give 30, it'll give you a list of instruments which are due for calibration within 30 days. Expiring instruments report also lets you export the data as an Excel, or if you want to send this as an email to your customers, you can send this as an email with an attachment of the same Excel format that you download from here. So this Excel sheet, if you look at it, it will list all the essential information about the instrument, along with the calibrated date, recommended due date, days to expire, etc. So another feature which we recently introduced is the import feature. So if you would like to import this the asset information all at once, when you start using the application, you may have tons of assets which may need to be added to the database. You can do it by yourself by downloading a template which basically resembles the table structure here. So you can have all the basic details of the instrument filled in, and you can upload it back to the database so that you can get started very quickly without having to add all your instrument details one by one. Thank you.